Alien invasion is a popular theme in science fiction. Aliens decide to invade Earth, often for reasons that are not clear. Then, either the military, some brilliant bystander, or some natural phenomena, water, microbes, etc., defeats the aliens and Earth wins. But what of reality? Why would aliens want to invade? And more important, could we do something about it? The colonization hypothesis. The aliens' home world is overcrowded and they need to expand their civilization. Why not come to Earth? The planet has a complete infrastructure, including an electrical grid, water pipes and drainage. Living quarters, factories, everything they would need to live without building anything. How would they do it? They would have to start with several scouting missions. They would need to find out our defense capabilities. Find how our atmosphere works. The quality of our water and air. That might make them want to cancel their plans. Once they collected the information, they would make a plan and execute it. First thing would be to destroy our defense capabilities. Destroy or at least incapacitate our nuclear installations. That itself would be a complicated task, considering there are nearly 10,000 nukes, and they are not all at the same place. Depending on how advanced they were, 100 years ahead of us. 1,000, 10,000? Then they would need to destroy our military. Next would come militias and terrorist organizations. Then they would have to go city to city and kill everyone. A monumental task, I'm sure you agree. Next would be cleanup. 8 billion corpses to destroy. Then they would have to clean up the mess, before bringing their people down. Then what? Take a couple where the man is 6 feet tall, and the woman is 5 feet tall. The man will find that the kitchen counters are too low. The woman will say they are too high. The woman's feet wouldn't touch the ground every time she sat in a chair, while the man would be more comfortable with a few inches more. If the aliens were 4 feet tall or 7 feet tall, nothing would be comfortable for them. And what if they had tails? Chairs wouldn't work. And what about our toilet facilities? Would they even work with aliens? And imagine an alien family taking over your house, in the morning, when Daddy E.T. would prepare for work. I'm not convinced his electric razor would actually work in our electrical outlets. The whole infrastructure would probably need to be modified to fit their needs. It seems to me that it would be much faster, and much more practical, to just start out on an uninhabited planet. The predator hypothesis. The aliens come here to hunt. Probably some ritual for the younger hunters to come into adulthood. At least they wouldn't come after all of us. Or would they? They would probably come individually and hunt however many of us they need, then leave. They would probably hunt fitter individuals. Hunting an obese man, who can't run more than 30 feet without having to stop to catch his breath, would probably not be too sporty. Then again, if all they need is a skull or a finger as a trophy, perhaps some more lazy, or less agile hunters would want to cut corners. By now, authorities would probably know about them. They would probably even have been observed. What do you do? If you attempt to stop them, they might decide we are not worth the trouble, and why not throw one big party, and send all their hunters at once? A whole fleet of them would likely be unstoppable. The resources hypothesis. Aliens need resources, so they come get them here. Most scientists claim it would be easier for aliens to just go into the asteroid belt and collect resources there, as there are much more of them. This would imply exploration to find the right asteroids, bringing in machines to do the mining. Or maybe it is easier to do with a living workforce. Machines might be too costly to ferry all the way there. They would probably still have to bring people over to supervise the operations. Then fill cargo ships to take all that home. Maybe their race doesn't like living in space, and they can't find anyone willing to live there for several months or years at a time. Maybe it would be easier to get slave labor here on Earth? One way or another, they would still need to build habitats and supply food and all other living conditions. The point is, it would be complicated and expensive. Here on Earth, we are already mining and refining these resources. Basically, all they have to do is come in and collect them once all the work is done. How would they do it? The first part would essentially be the same as in the colonization hypothesis: scouting, finding our defenses, making an invasion plan. In this case, once they've destroyed our military capabilities, they would simply destroy most cities. They wouldn't need them. They would circle the areas where mines and facilities are and leave those alone. Then they would keep the people in these areas alive to simply continue doing whatever they do, and they would collect the resources at the end of the chain. As long as the people inside continue the work, they wouldn't need to do anything. But could we stop them? Not during an attack. But let's suspend disbelief for a moment. Imagine that the aliens have been observing us from afar for a while. Perhaps they even have a satellite in orbit. They observe our first nuclear explosions and decide it's time to come. Before we blow up the planet, let's assume the speed of light is not a problem and they can get here very fast. They send a couple of scout ships to get as much information as possible. But something goes wrong. The ships crash. I already hear your objection. Why would they fly millions of light years just to crash? Think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. The ships they would send wouldn't be built to fly in our atmosphere or in the gravity well of Earth. It's like if we sent an F-15 to Mars and expected it to fly like it does on Earth. It wouldn't. Those scout ships would probably be almost impossible to fly. It wouldn't take much to bring them down. Now imagine the ships were salvaged and one or two of the occupants were still alive. After a while, communication becomes possible and, either through force or simply because the alien doesn't care enough to keep secrets, we learn about their wish to come here and take our resources. How could we possibly stop them? Perhaps through an elaborate game of poker. Give the bomb to the competing superpower. Create, for the public, the illusion of a Cold War, causing the building of such an arsenal that you can destroy the planet 15 times. Then you contact the aliens, through their survivor, and set up the bluff. Very simple, actually. If you try to invade, we blow up the planet. Therefore, all resources on Earth would be so radioactive that they would be unusable. Sure, it effectively means planetary suicide. But still a win. In this scenario, a small group of people know the truth and they have total control of the entire world's nuclear arsenal. If the leader of a country that possesses nukes woke up in the middle of the night after seeing his greatness in a dream decided to launch his country's nukes, nothing would happen. The aliens would work at trying to eliminate our nuclear capabilities. They would probably also make themselves seen by some people, trying to appear friendly. Encouraging people to demand the truth from their governments. But in order not to create a worldwide panic, citizens of the world could never be told the truth. So many people would never be able to live with this possible suicide hanging over their heads. Some people would insist it must be possible to negotiate with the aliens. Others, people who live in areas that would be spared, would be willing to take their chances and eliminate the nuclear threat. But these are just the musings of a broken mind.